comfortable. We are going to get comfortable. We're just going to talk. But first of all, I got to say, until about 11 this morning, I thought I was going to have the honor of saying, ladies and gentlemen, Iggy Pop. But this is even better, because I get to say, ladies and gentlemen, the band you love to love and never thought you'd see again, Iggy Pop, Ron Ashton, Scott Ashton, the Stooges. You have no idea how huge that is. I want to start by asking you to tell a story which you related to me in very colorful, glorious detail a couple of weeks ago, about a show that the band played in, I believe it was 1970, at the World's Fair Pavilion, opening for Joe Cocker. And I mean, an interaction you had with a guy named Frank Barcelona, who was a very famous talent agent in New York at the time.
Sure. All right. I think the first time this group got out of the Midwest, we somehow got a gig at the World's Fair Pavilion, beautiful outdoor pavilion in Queens. We were going to be down on the bill, opening for Joe Cocker. I think because we had a record out, somebody at our label forced them to take it. And, you know, at the time, we would play 3 or 4 songs, very basic, each one as long as we felt like on the riff. And I wore these little, tiny little Levi short shorts, like chicks wear a lot now on vacation.
Hot pants.
Yeah, hot pants and a little pair of moccasins. I always thought moccasins were cool. The crowd was not going wild for us. And it started making me nervous. And you know, I don't know why. I started playing with one of Scott's broken drumsticks, and I was kind of making little marks on my flesh, and little bits of blood were coming out. People were just looking at us. I started getting sick of the lack of intergroove, so I jumped them. You know, I did a stage dive and jumped the audience, and we finished our set, and we had a long-suffering manager who was really in the health food industry, who ended up working for Erewhon Foods or Whole Foods, and Jimmy Silver, and he said, okay, so I want to take you now. I want to take you to meet a really important guy who can help the group, the big booking agent, Frank Barcelona. So I said, okay, you know, and I walked out in my little outfit with my little flecks of blood in the middle of right through the audience. And there he was standing there. He was beautiful. He had that Goodfellas look. He had a beautiful silvery coiffed do, a still handsome face, permatan, nice big paunch, Rolex, Van Lawn shirt, yachting shoes. and he stood there and he said, Jimmy, Iggy, I'm gonna pass on the group. I can't help it. But I think in 25 years, it's gonna be important. So you know,
he was right.
He was a pro. You know, so especially some of these old school dudes who came from the pinball industry or things like that, they had a way of, they had a way of looking at things and sizing it up. So
but isn't that like a weird kind of justice? It's like, it's sort of the reverse of, you know, most people say, well, buy now, pay later. This is like, well, why don't you pay really a lot now, and maybe you'll get a big reward in about 25 years if you're still here to enjoy it.
Yeah, beefsteak mine. Nobody really knew where to put us when we started. So I mean, what were we doing on a bill with Joe Cocker? We loved Joe in the ideal world, in the macrocosmic universe. I'll bet Joe did like. I bet he might have liked us. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But to people who compartmentalize things, you know, Joe Cocker is sensitive white he's a white Negro. he's a white Negro. What?
English white.
An English white, the classic English white Negro. That's okay, but it wasn't okay to be in the Stooges. So,
But you, all of you, you know, whether it was instrumentally, when you were doing singing, the theatrics, you were all extreme from the start. That started literally from the very first gig. Do you think that either musically or physically you've been as aggressive to audiences and even towards yourselves as you were if the Stooges had been successful right from Jump Street?
I think it's still plenty progressive, I mean, aggressive, and progressive.
Both.
Yeah. And, but I don't know, you're saying if there hadn't.
Yeah, but if you'd had the big reward,
If we'd
you'd
had
the
more
hit
support
single.
from a wider public, what would have happened to our sound? Would we have still been as edgy?
That's tough to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, yeah, I was gonna say, give me the money, honey, it can't hurt, I mean.
Give me the money and then I'll
and
still be as
we would be the
intense.
same, that wouldn't have changed us.
You know,
No one can do that.
There were probably 20 estimable groups in southeastern Michigan, where we come from, in the 60s, at the time we were playing. Many of them are still around now. You'd know them, many of their songs you'd know. And